back around New Year's, you sent me this list of the top YouTube searches, and you wanted me to explain some things to you.
Yeah, well, because it was a list of lists, actually, of the top terms that are searched for on YouTube, and then they broke it out to gamers and musicians and other things, I guess. And I knew who some of those people were. I knew who some of those people were specifically because we've talked about them on this show. And otherwise, they have entered into the consciousness of grown-up world. But there's a whole bunch I didn't hear about. And so then our conversation about that kind of led you to think, well, why don't I tell you about this?
Yes, because that's how normal people have conversations, right? Only for the means of producing an artistic product.
There's worse motivations for conversation.
I was conceived only for this reason. My life is a lie. Anyway, so I wanted to talk about gaming YouTube because that's one of the things you had the most questions about, and one of the things I was surprised actually was so high on the list, and specifically like which creators were high on the list. Like, oh, that guy's still around. I watched him when I was like 13.
So they have some longevity, so to speak, in this world. Yeah. That's interesting.
So before we get started, Mom, can you explain what a Let's Play is?
I think a Let's Play is when you watch somebody play a video game and you have one camera and that's on the what's happening on their screen, and the other camera is on their face, recording their reactions and them screaming and stuff.
Yes. Screaming technically isn't required, but yes, it is.
Okay.
Let's Plays are actually amongst the most evergreen content on YouTube. When I say evergreen content, I'm talking stuff that you could watch the same video 2 years later and your experience wouldn't be significantly altered. We make the antithesis of evergreen content here at That's the Thing, because what we make is only relevant for about 3 weeks after it comes out, if we're lucky.
That's not true. That's not true. If we were doing a sports podcast when we were talking about what happened in, hockey over the past week, that would be much less evergreen than what we do. But your point is taken.
But if you complained about what was happening in hockey 2 weeks ago, after more games had been had, and those complaints have changed, people are going to be like, you weren't even watching hockey lately. What were you doing? Your one purpose in life is to observe the quote-unquote sport going on, and you have failed in your sole duty, right?
Right.
So that's kind of where our podcast is. But on YouTube, it's really nice to have evergreen content because then people will binge watch you and they don't see a commentary video about drama that happened 2 years ago, and which now seems insignificant. It's content that ages well. So, and the only requirement to have a gaming channel really is you need camera and mic equipment, you need a gaming console, and you need a big dollop of charisma.
Ah. How do you acquire that?
Come back to me on that one. I haven't figured it out yet. Why do you think I'm here? You also kind of need to have started 5 years ago, but we don't tell the new ones that. So, the genre isn't immune to trends, which are less evergreen. There was a Minecraft trend when I was starting to watch YouTube back in like the late 2010s, early 20-teens. I don't know how we're supposed to refer to these. We weren't told.
We're in an awkward stage in our years. Well, once we get into past 2020, everything will be a lot easier.
But then we can't casually refer to the 20s anymore because we need to clarify. It's a whole thing. We have so many tangents today. Yeah. Anyway, some of the trends, like there was Minecraft. I actually watched Minecraft videos when I was starting to watch YouTube. I had like the iPad version. I had a lot of fun with that before I outgrew it. Now my life is sad and uncreative. There was a big Five Nights at Freddy's trend about 4 years ago. We talked about that in our indie games episode. People will build up their whole channels around these trends, actually. So those channels will get really, really big, millions of subscribers. And then when the game ceases to be relevant, those people aren't relevant anymore. So a lot of Minecraft YouTubers, perhaps even still making content, huge dip in activity on their channels. Five Nights at Freddy's guys are basically gone now because people can only watch jump scares for so long before they get bored. And the new thing that is almost certainly a trend is something we've talked about a lot lately on the show, because it's kind of become a key part of my generation for the last year. Fortnite is almost definitely a trend, and everybody who's built their YouTube career around Fortnite is probably doomed.